Don Kennedy with ProMaster Home Repair and Handyman of Cincinnati. I'm so excited about today's video because I get a lot of questions from viewers and folks that come to our website about energy efficiency and how to improve their home and make it more energy efficient. And so today I've asked my friend Tim Courtier, who's the owner of Pro Energy Consultants, if we could tag along on a real home energy audit. So let me introduce you to my friend Tim, and he's going to tell you all about what we're going to do.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Tim, I appreciate you
Thanks for
letting us
having
tag
me.
along with you today.
No problem at all.
First of all, I mean, tell me a little bit, a lot of folks today are getting home energy audits so they can kind of get a report to understand, how they can improve their home and make it more energy efficient. So a lot of times the people will call the power company, and the power company guy will come out, or tell me how you're different. What do you do?
Well, we take a different approach than the power company does. Now, when the power company comes out, they're not going to use the infrared cameras that we use, and they're not going to put the house under a negative pressure to find where all the air leaks are as well. They're going to come out and tell you to buy Energy Star appliances, and they're going to tell you to put CFL light bulbs in, and that's about it. We get a little bit deeper involved than that. Like I said, we do an infrared scan to where we can find any missing insulation or lack thereof. We do the negative pressure test to where we can see where there's any type of air infiltration in the home itself. And then we also test the ductwork itself to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of heat or air conditioning to those rooms. So we find out where you're losing energy and why, and we can make your home more comfortable.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because, I get calls from folks all the time like, hey, should I spend this $5,000 or $10,000 on new windows? Or this guy quoted me $2 grand for new insulation. Or should I, spend the $12,000 on the new heating system? So people are just throwing good money after bad in an attempt to try to make their home more efficient. You say you shouldn't do that without getting an energy audit first. Right?
No.
Why is that?
Get the energy audit first. Our motto is we don't guess. We find out where you're losing the energy and why, and then we also give you a detailed report of where you need to focus on investing your money to where you're going to get that return on your investment.
Okay, I see. So then you could then take the report and either do that work yourself or hire a company like ours to come in and do that and actually focus your dollars towards where they're going to make the most impact.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, now my only next question is, first, let's talk about some of the tools. So maybe you can kind of give us a tour of some of the equipment, because we like tools in our business. We think that's cool. So show us some of the equipment you use, and maybe then we'll take a look at how we go about doing it.
Sure, sounds good.
Let's go.
All right.
All right, we're inside now where it's nice and warm, but I've been watching Tim starting to set up, and the first thing I notice is this large red contraption. What, are we going camping, Tim, or what is this?
Well, what this is what we call a blower door. And what we use this for is this puts the house under a negative pressure. And basically what that means is it's simulating a 10-mile-an-hour wind blowing constantly on our four walls of the home.
Okay.
That way we can see where there's any type of air leakage in the home, be it from the windows, the doors, basically the entire building envelope itself.
Okay.
And that tool that you're holding in your hand there,
what is this here?
This is what's called a digital multimeter, and what we use that for is once we're done doing our blower door test, we can figure out actually the approximate size leakage that's in the home itself, so we can actually tell you how big of in essence, a hole is in your home.
Cool.
Very cool.
Let's crank it up.
What we're doing now is we're using a thermal camera, and this is actually showing us where you have that cold air coming in. The blue here is showing us the cold, and as I come forward here with my smoke pencil and we shoot the smoke in here, you can see the smoke coming back at us. So you can tell that there's a lot of air from the outside coming in. Not only is it coming in from the flue itself, as we come to the side here, you can see these gaps along the masonry, and as we shoot it with the smoke, you can see how it's just shooting right back at us. And then also with our thermal camera, we can see those temperature variations. And obviously they have 40-degree air coming in, which is not a good thing. Another thing is, like this particular customer, they just had new windows installed. And a lot of times what you find is people don't need new windows. Because what I'm finding here is they actually have a lot of air leakage around the windows themselves. When I shoot it with my infrared, I can see the cold air coming in. And then we use our smoke pencil to where you can see all that air is blowing that smoke away. And again, this is a simple repair versus actually just replacing your windows. We just use a caulk to seal that on up, and you're good to go.
It's kind of like an investigator. We've been watching him as he's kind of snooping around the house here with his infrared camera. You found something really interesting under this window. What's going on?
Well, again, this is a brand new window that they installed
Brand new window.
Brand new
window, okay.
And what we found here is there's air leakage underneath the window itself along the trim here. So again, all we need to do is just lay a simple bead of caulk, and it'll take care of that air leak, and you won't have those cold drafts.
So this is really an installation in window. All these times people spend so much money on new windows,
correct,
and they're not getting the performance of it simply because due to a deficiency in the installation.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of the times when they install brand new windows, they neglect to seal around the window itself and around the trim here, which more often than not is where you're going to get your air infiltration.
So Tim, what about doors? I mean, tell me what you're looking for.
Well, doors are a very important area to check for air leaks as well. And as you can see on the thermal camera here, we have 33-degree air coming in underneath the door. And then as I pan up here, you can also see a lot of air coming in along the sides as well. And again, as I shoot it with my smoke pencil here, you can see all that air that's coming in just blowing all the smoke around here. Now in this particular case, what we need to do is replace the weather stripping around the door itself, and then also along the trim area here, once again, it just needs some simple caulk to seal that air leak up, and you're good to go.
That's a beautiful old hardwood door. We definitely don't want to replace it.
Now we're in the basement, and one particular area that you really want to focus on is what's called the band joist or the rim joist. And what we found here is someone has insulated the band joist, but as I shoot with my camera here, there's actually low 30-degree air coming in through that insulation. And if you look up inside there, it's starting to actually blacken the insulation because it's basically acting like a filter at this point. So typically what we always recommend you have done, instead of the insulation such as this, we recommend using the foam insulation where you're going to get an air barrier to stop that air from coming in, as well as a thermal barrier at the same time.
Here's a close-up of what Tim's talking about. You can see the gaps that are between what's called the sill plate and the band board, or sometimes called the rim joist. And air is just flowing right in there, and it doesn't matter if your home is new or old. In fact, when I moved into my place, new home about 3-4 years ago, I had to take some foam and seal up all of those gaps because the contractors aren't going to take time to do that.
Okay, now we're in the attic space, which is a very important area and also a very neglected area, as we can see here in this attic space. Now if you actually look down inside here, how the insulation itself is actually starting to blacken. Now once again, they didn't install baffles in there, so the insulation itself is covering up those soffit vents. And again, it's acting like a filter. So what we actually need to do here is to install baffles to where it's going to open up to those soffit vents to get the proper air ventilation through here. And then we also need to add an additional amount of insulation in here. Now they've actually floored in here, so we have a maximum of about 6 inches of insulation in this attic space. Now in this area that we're in, you actually want to be at around an R49 value. So we're going to need to add about 12 to 15 inches. Okay, and now as I'm scanning the ceiling here on the second story, I'm actually finding these areas of very cold spots where we're actually getting down low 50s, high 40-degree mark. And again, with that lack of insulation in the attic space, that's giving you all these cold spots, which just again shows us why we need to add that additional amount of insulation to the attic space. Another thing that we always want to check, especially on a second story with the attic space above, is any type of penetration that's going into this attic space. So we have a light here, and I'm actually checking it, and this one's good. It's sealed up. There's no air coming in through there, but that's a real common source for having that unconditioned cold air from the attic space come into the living space here in the bed. Now, again, we're on the second story, and as I'm scanning this closet space in here, I find there's a lot of cracks in the plaster through here, and as I shoot it with my thermal camera, I'm getting some real cold temperatures coming out through there, and we can actually feel a draft coming through this closet itself. So what we need to do here is, again, we need to seal those cracks up to prevent all that air infiltration of coming into the living condition space.
Added benefit of having a professional energy auditor conduct an energy audit versus maybe just somebody from the power company is that a gentleman like Tim has a lot more knowledge about appropriate residential construction techniques, and can spot problems not only that affect the energy performance, but that could be other safety problems in your home. And that actually happened while we were out at this home. While we were down in the basement, Tim spotted something that actually could be a serious safety concern. It could actually kill the occupants of the home. So Tim, why don't you explain what you found?
Well, what we found here, Don, is I was looking around, I actually saw the chimney for, this is a gas water heater,
right.
So obviously it uses combustible gas. And you actually have to vent those gases outside of the home. And like you said, this is a serious safety issue. It can cause serious illness or even death. And as you can see here, this pipe is actually disconnected from the water heater itself. So you have those harmful carbon monoxide gases actually inside the home itself.
Now, this family did not have a carbon monoxide detector. I would hate to have seen what I almost don't want to know, but if you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, please buy one. I have one on every level of my home, and it would tell you if something like this was occurring that was spewing carbon monoxide into your air. Well, Tim, we started here at the front door. We're now done. Back at the front door. Maybe kind of give us an overview of what we did here today.
Well, basically what we do from here is, after I take all my findings, within a 48-hour period, I actually build my customers a prioritized action plan. And what that action plan is what we recommend they do to improve their home, to make it more energy efficient, and where they're going to save the most money. And basically, like I was telling you with my multimeter here, I can actually, with the findings that I have, in essence tell you how big of a hole that you have in your home. Basically, how much air infiltration is coming into your home and how we can improve that. And that's all in the report for the customer. And any customer, if they need someone like you, such as yourself, we make those recommendations. Sure. And a lot of the things that we do find, as you've seen, is simple things that customers themselves can do to improve their home and make it more energy efficient and not have to spend the extra money to have that taken care of.
Well, great. I look forward to the report, and thank you so much for letting us
Don.
tag along.
No
This
problem.
was a learning experience for me, and I hope you at home enjoyed this and learned something from it. Well, thanks for watching. If you need to reach Tim to have a home energy audit done, you can reach him at 513-474-0010 or tcourtier at proenergyconsultants.com. And as always, if you need help with a home repair or remodeling project, you can reach us in the Cincinnati area at 513-724-0539 or at mastermylist.com. And as always, we'd love to be your friend on Facebook. Keyword, ProMaster Craftsman. Happy remodeling!